Hi everybody, this is Hanno the Honda Mäkinen doing a special kind of double announcement. So you may remember back in 2012 when I was in Glasgow. When I was leaving Glasgow, I made a little video update where I mentioned that I had finished a comic book. It was called the Dalt Wisney Heist, and back then I was wondering about possibilities of how to make it available for everyone to read. And the first bit of this announcement is that the Dalt Wisney Heist is online. It's available at Tumblr at daltwisneyheist.tumblr.com, so you can go and read the comic there. Now, a warning before you do that, it has very mature content. There's a disclaimer right at the front of it, and if that makes you unsure at all whether or not you want to read it, there's also a detailed list of all the, let's say, bad content that's in it. So please go check that out, and before you go read it, because I don't want people to read it, get offended, and complain. And that's the first bit. The second bit is that now that the comic is finally online and available for everybody, I wanted to really discuss it in depth. Like, get a chance to really kind of sit down and talk about it, because I was very, very proud when I finished it, and I really, really liked the comic that came out in the end. So I wanted to have a chance to talk, and that's the second announcement. The new episode of White Devil Podcast, episode number 5, is all about the Dalt Wisney Heist, and I'm joined by Ken Aqualung Blakey, as well as Sendu from itstale.time.net, and that podcast is up at Internet Archives. I'm going to link it here, make both a link to the actual page and the download site. Although I will also be posting the podcast on the Tumblr page, so you can go. So it's all there if you want to go there. The thing is, though, do not listen to the podcast before. Read the comic first, and then listen to the podcast, because we are going to be discussing the comic in quite a bit of detail. There are going to be spoilers. It's not a very long comic, only 46 pages. So please read the comic first, then listen to the podcast. And you don't have to listen to the podcast if you don't want to. But I found it was fun to kind of sit down with two good friends of mine and discuss the comic in depth like that. And because the content is quite hairy, again, I'm going to have to give a warning out on the contents of that podcast as well as the comic. So that's one thing. And please feel free to leave feedback on the comic or the podcast, wherever you want. You can do it either on this video. You can leave it I think you can leave it at Tumblr, or you can go to itstale.time.net forums and just message me there if you want. Really, it's all up to you. And I'm just happy that the comic is finally up, that we got to do the podcast, and it was a lot of fun to do. And, I just hope that you all enjoy the comic. So, really, that's all for me for now. I'm Hanno the Honda Mäkinen. See you on the next one.